Welcome back to Quarter Notes. This is a fun little segment that I do where I want to talk about a number of albums, but I don't quite have enough to really do a full-length album review. But I do have, I do still want to shine the light on some of these records and some of these albums. So yeah, I've got 4 of them, hence Quarter Notes. So let's dive in and talk about them. Bloodywood. So Bloodywood is an Indian metal band. They kind of started off as being almost a parody band, taking very prominent and popular Bollywood music and just turning them metal. And they decided after a while of doing that, let's put out a full-length album. Let's actually dig our teeth into and use the groundwork of the Bollywood music scene and express it in a metal setting. And that's what we have here. We have flavors of traditional gent music on here. We have some of the new metal aspects as well. I can definitely taste flavors of Linkin Park. I'm a huge fan of Bollywood. My partner and I watch at least one a month. So we have a great time with all the music that's found on it. That's why I go to Bollywood. I love the music. I love how rhythmic it is and how bass centered it is, which lends a perfect hand to metal music. So expressing it in such a deeper root and using a lot more minor keys is such a treat. And I love how a lot of this is also very political, talking and speaking about the violence against women, and really demonizing that and really planting the flag and being yeah, this is happening and we need to stop it. So I really appreciate that. Not only does this music have such brilliant and beautiful sounds, but it has a really great message behind a lot of these tracks as well. I've been loving this outfit. I think it's a great time. It is both fun as well as aggressive. So it blends so many of the things that I love about music all in one. And it doesn't sound like a straight up parody as well. I do see a lot of those YouTube videos where they're doing X in the style of X, and it can feel like a flash in the pan. It can feel like a gimmick, but this transcends that into being something its own style. And I really, really appreciated that. So absolutely, this is one that I would pick up in physical format if I could find it. This definitely gets the Note seal of approval, and I think you guys will have a really, really good time if you're into bands like Linkin Park and nu metal, or into more of the gent scene like Tesseract or Periphery. This has something for all metal lovers. So yeah, go out and check it out. It's great. Paint the Sky by Lalu. So Lalu is a relatively new band to me, even though they've been around since the early 2000s. They're a progressive metal outfit from France, and it's interesting because this new album from them, it's the first album that I've heard from them, it has specific flavors of the Canadian prog-ish band from the 70s, Saga. And it has this very, especially within the singing styles, it's very much emulating that kind of a style. Almost like the American prog acts of that day. Less so Rush, but more so Kansas, Styx, even to a certain extent Boston in that case, where it's kind of rock first, progressive rock second, but there's still this underlay of progressive rock that's found within it. And I've been having a blast within this. It's very bright, it's very colorful, it has a little bit more of a symphonic approach to it, and it's really only kind of skimming the surface in terms of progressive metal. I would much rather say that this is straight up progressive rock. Sometimes I'll use this moniker as a negative, but I don't mean it in this case, but it is a very pleasant listen to. There's no points that are kind of stretching the imagination in this one. There's nothing that's really being pushing of boundaries or anything in that case, but I mean, for a band that's pretty much emulating that style of progressive rock from the mid to late 70s, I think they're doing a fantastic job. And I was having a blast listening to this one. This is one that I would definitely download. You know, this is one that I would have on my computer. I most likely will revisit this quite often. So I had a blast with it. And if you're into that kind of style of like the late 70s rock, where, you know, a lot more of the very polished style of production work, the very like vibrant and lush aspect of it, then you're really going to enjoy this one. But if you want something a little bit more gritty, grimy, a little bit more like teeth in your metal, might not necessarily be for you. But I had a great time with it. So yeah, there you go. My Raid by Oh Hiroshima or Oh Hiroshima. I don't know which one it is. I've heard it both ways, so yeah. Oh Hiroshima is a fantastic post-rock, math rock outfit. They originate from Sweden, as all great bands do. They got their start back in like the mid 2000s, put out their first album in 2011, but I mean, they blew the scene away for me with In Silence We Yearn from 2015. Love that album. I return to it very often and, you know, all the time. I kind of missed out on their 2019 album of Oscillation. Just kind of missed it. It flew under the radar for me. But the thing that I love about Oh Hiroshima is they kind of blend that more noise rock aspect of, say, like Godspeed, but kind of tightening it up and really like solidifying music, something like Explosions in the Sky. So it takes these two expressions of the post-rock, math rock outfits that I love and kind of mush them together and taking the strengths of both. And that was something that I really, really loved from In Silence We Yearn. So now we're coming to My Raid, and I wasn't as big of a fan of this one as I was with In Silence We Yearn. I just found like they were exploring the space a little too much without really divesting anything tangible or meaningful. I mean, we've got 7 songs across 38 minutes, so I would have thought that eventually there would have been something tasty, something really, really great. Now, that's not to say that within this runtime, it's an unpleasant listen, because it's still, you know, that math rock, post rock, really beautiful soundscapes. You know, it's very cinematic in that sense. But I just felt like it didn't really amount to anything. This one is much more like put it on the background and kind of enjoy it while you're doing something else, rather than put it on to enjoy for itself in that case. So yeah, I mean, this wouldn't be my first stop if you're new to Oh Hiroshima. I would definitely say start with In Silence We Yearn. But it's still a pleasant listen. Unfortunately, I do have to say that this one's still going to be a stream for me. I think if you're a fan of the band, you've already checked it out, and it'll probably satisfy your craving for more music from them, because at no point did I ever feel bored. Did I ever feel like, oh man, I need bleh. But again, at no point was I really wowed with what I was hearing. So yeah, that's what I've got for My Raid for Oh Hiroshima. That's what I got. Two-Piece Puzzle by Rosalie Cunningham. So Rosalie Cunningham is a brilliant artist, you know, kind of the front woman for the brilliant band of Person. They only really put out 2 albums, which is a real shame. They were just a brilliant, brilliant band. And subsequently, other bands have kind of come in to fill their shoes. But she has gone on her own. This is her second self-titled, like self as an artist, her own solo work. Her first one being self-titled, I think back in 2019. And it kind of carries that same essence of Person. For the uninitiated, it's very like, I guess like acid rock from the 70s. Like we're looking at like Deep Purple, Uriah Heep, and even like little flavors of, say, I don't know, Procol Harum a little bit. But like that very trippy, very acidy rock style. And I mean like traditional rock, not like the Buddy Holly kind of traditional rock, but like the 60s, 70s rock, you know? And I love Rosie's singing style. Like her voice is straight up from the Angels. Like if you took, say, I don't know, if you took like the raspy aspect of like a Janis Joplin, there we go. But if you had incorporated like the angelic rocker style of like an Annie Hassan, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, Hassalam. Hassalam? Yeah, Annie Hassalam. I think so. From Renaissance. And you would have just this brilliant vocal works. And her songwriting ship is also very, very brilliant as well. Like, I love how she covers all the different gambits of like the musical spectrum in this case. I particularly like the idea of like, you know, the traditional car song, you know, like Rush had a bunch. Like AC/DC has a whole lot. Deep Purple was really into it. I mean, Highway Star. But this one is Suck, Push, Bang, Blow, which is essentially the turbine within the carburetor. I'm not a car guy. I don't know, but it's like you suck in the fuel, you push it down, it bangs, and then you blow it out, right? And so it's all about cars. But man, this is a great rock album. I have a really good time with it, but I do feel if I had to find criticisms for this, I do feel as though Rosalie, like, she's great. She's really, really great. But I do feel as though that flushed out nature of the band behind her is kind of lacking. But that's just my own personal preference. For this one, though, still, I would most likely pick this up in physical format. I think this is a great addition to anybody's musical discography, especially if you're into that style of like rock music. You're going to have a great time with this one. So yeah, those are my four albums this time around, my little quarter notes. What did you guys think of these four bands? What did you think of Bloodywood, Lalu, Hiroshima, and Rosalie Cunningham? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Whatever you thought, please let me know by commenting down below. What was your favorite? What was your least favorite? Let me know all about that. And I think that's about it. If you haven't already, like this video because, you know, algorithm and all that, and subscribe if you haven't because I like validation. And that's all I've got. So thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.